my friends, and welcome back to EVE Online with me, Mark from Dadex, and we're about to make our first intrepid steps into low-sec. Only about 3 jumps from Amarr I found this pocket. We're going to have a little snoop around. We've got some 0.4 and 0.3 systems very close by, and then beyond that some 0.2s. I am going to make this first little trip in my pod the safest possible way to dip your toe into low-sec. And I'm checking on the map. I've got it set to show kills in the last hour, and although the gateway system hasn't had any kills in the last hour, it is the one most likely to be camped, so I'm certainly, till I know what this place is like, go in the pod. Now I've actually got them switched off on this account, but when you land at a gate going into low security, you will get this warning. Not quite this big, but I'm making a point here. This is low sec. You make a decision to go into low sec. It isn't something you can do by accident, or it certainly shouldn't be something you can do by accident. If you come into low sec, the rules are different. You need to be ready for them. So I'm in my pod. I'm going to find just somewhere to warp to, any old celestial. And on the way, I'm going to drop a bookmark, and that is my first safe point in this low sec system. So if I need to run somewhere, I can run here. I need to be scanned down using combat probes when I'm at that safe spot. It's my little run to place. So you can make these first bookmarks here in your pod. And if you press L, provided you haven't remapped it to anything else, you will pop up that little window I've got at the bottom of the screen there showing your bookmarks in the current system, and my safe spot is right there. So I just need to right click on that, warp to whenever I feel the need to leave wherever it is I am. So very, very basic stuff. Make sure you've got at least one safe point. If you're going to hang around the system, we'll make more, and we'll make a point of noting what parts of the system they cover. We're now looking at the D-scan. I'm linking right now how to use the D-scan video. I won't go into the detail now, but this is basically your eyes, guys. The overview over here is, you can smell it if it's on here. If you want to see what's out there, you use your D-scan. Seriously, watch that video. Next thing we're going to check is the stations in local. What specifically we're looking for right now is just that they've got a repair ship. That's all we're worried about. You'll find quite a few stations around low sec don't have a repair facility. You want to be aware if you're in a system without one, and you want to ideally make your first little base of operations the at station with a repair facility. So we've gone out in the pod, and we've come straight back in the Punisher, which was obviously docked in that station right outside, minimizing the risk of there being a gate camp when we bring in our first very valuable combat ship. So we're just going to hit some belts and see what we can find to shoot at. The D-scan is clear of other ship. Of course, there could be cloaked ships. There could be some of those lovely cruisers that do not show up on your D-scan, such as the Curse, the most popular one you'll see, but of course you'll only see it when it's on your overview and you can smell it. And that can happen, that will happen, but don't worry, that's all part of low sec life. Right, we're just going to bounce around a couple of belts, keeping a very close eye on the D-scan, just learning anything we can. We're already trying to remember the names of the people in the local. So what I've done there is go to my safe point and check on the D-scan what is actually covered in terms of asteroid belts, and I'm updating the bookmark. And then ideally you want one perch around each area of the system that covers your points of interest. Obviously we are belt ratting, so the belts are our focus. If you've got stations and gates on your D-scan, that's good. Keep an eye out. You can see ships there that may be decloaked as people reship, and then they come out and they cloak up, but you might just catch them when they undock. So the more you've got on your D-scan, the better. But I do have a separate overview setting that is called Hunt that I'm using now, that doesn't show stuff like wrecks, because that will just cause lots of clutter. You'll see it at times as I click between settings on the overview. The D-scan then is going to get full of junk. This is the gateway system. I don't recommend you spend much time hanging around in that first low sec system. It's always going to be the busiest. It's where the gate campers are going to hang out. All the traffic into the pocket obviously comes through there. If you want to get some work done, you don't want to hang around here. This is where you come to make some friends, to socialise, whether that's on-grid fighting or in local chatting or whatever. But this first system, although I'm scoping it out obviously because I want my bookmarks, I want to shoot something, and who knows, somebody might even notice me and say hello or come and attack me. I want to know what's going on. Getting attacked tells you you're in an aggressive system. We're just ready to run. Do bear in mind that if you're warping to a belt, or anywhere for that matter, that's more than 14.3 AU away, it's not going to be showing on your D-scan, so you are going to land on that belt blind. That could be where you land on somebody who's camping the warp in, somebody who's already there doing something. Who knows what you're going to land into. You keep hitting that D-scan on your way in, so at least you get heads up if there is anything around. But do bear that in mind. I've taken out a few cruisers, some battle cruisers and frigates. The loot is nothing brilliant, but I'm not really here for the money. I'm here for the intel. Now, I've deliberately let this kind of lag for 3 or 4 days just to give me a chance to get some footage done, have a look around and move on. Because obviously I don't want to be releasing these videos too live and direct. I don't want too much company while I'm finding my way around. But the videos will be coming out much more regularly now as we track this guy's progress. There's also a few questions we're going to discuss, as in, should we spend any money on what is a free-to-play game at this point, etc, etc. But there's lots to talk about as we make our way through. But for now, we're just going to focus on this guy right here. This is also, of course, the first real shakedown for the ships, including the Punisher here, which is performing very well. That's a battle cruiser going down. I'm not that far from Amarr, so if I do need to make any adjustments to my fits, the shops are very handy. So I want to get all the ships tried out as soon as possible. I will put the Punisher fit that I'm using at the moment in the description down below, but it is actually one of the Eve Academy fits that is in the fitting, which is in the fitting screen there for you to find. You just got to fit that, click that button. You just got to click that button on the fitting screen. And for those of you again that might be a bit newer to the game, I'm going to link now a playlist of videos about fitting your ship. It starts off with the fitting screen and what all those numbers etc mean. Then it will look at modules and how to tell which modules might be most appropriate for what you need your ship to do or what you can fit on your ship. And then some secondary videos on how to get more power grid, more CPU, more capacitor, or use less of them to make your ship fitting a little bit easier. So that's linked there for you. I'll also link a few of the Newbros vids down in the description. I'm not sure what links show up on what devices, so I'm covering all bases. Some nice screenshots here. Another battle cruiser going down. We're still in the gateway system. There's a couple of people in local, so I'm not going to get involved with anything too big, but a battle cruiser we can handle and kill quick enough to not be on grid for too long. But now we're in the next system back. We've got local to ourselves. We've made our safe spot already. We're good to go hunting. And now we can take a little bit more time. Now ideally what we're looking for is clone soldiers. They drop tags which, depending on which security status system you're in, go in value from I think about 1.3 million up to about 20 to 25 million. But we found a battleship, and I'm going to take this battleship on since it's just us here. And I'm going to speed the footage up very, very much. Now basically, as long as we've got enough DPS to break his tank, and he will have some kind of reps going on, then we will win this fight. It's just a matter of time. Once we're in under his guns, he's not going to be able to touch us. If the frigate or any escort that he has with him happen to be doing some damage to you, feel free to kill them and then come back to the battleship and finish him off. I've sped this up, but it actually takes about 7 minutes for me to kill the battleship, but it can be done. The bounty's 500,000. We'll see what loot he drops when I finally work my way through him. But while I'm doing this, first of all, let's talk about the skin giveaway. Now on screen now look, 4 winners of the Gila skin from the last video. Well done you guys, enjoy that whether you wear it or you spend it. Unfortunately I haven't got this month's skin code yet. I'm sure that due to today's update, the guys at CCP may be a little bit busy with feedback and questions. They were due today. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you a choice. 4 winners, you can choose a Raven skin, a Tempest skin, and a Baden skin or a Megathron skin. How about that? So let me know with your comment. Remember to include your in-game name with the comment and your choice of skin, and I'll do what I can for you. And obviously comments, just keep them relevant. Are you coming into LowSec for your first time? Is there anything particularly you'd like me to show you? I'm going to cover everything over the next couple of weeks. I'm also waiting for some skills to train up, scanning etc before we go into a wormhole. But we finally killed this battleship, and there it goes. What a beautiful big explosion. Yeah, I think about 7.5 minutes. So it's about 500,000 in bounty. He's going to drop us a decent amount of loot, but we're also going to find out the other disadvantage of belt ratting in a frigate. I'm taking out that pesky little guy, but there you go. This is the loot we've got here. It's worth 1.3 mil, it says there, which is great, but the problem is these big modules, and a couple of these modules are 50 cubic meters, they won't fit in our little ship. So a destroyer obviously has a bigger cargo hold. It's not huge. You can cram more in there. So that is one thing to bear in mind if you're out in a frigate, that you can't actually get all the loot in at once. So I've bookmarked the wreck. Remember to do that before you leave grid. I can go and empty what I've got. Again, checking. I'm going to go to the station that I know has got a repair shop. Put that loot away in there. Come and get the rest. And don't dismiss or ignore the small belt rats that you're going to see in low sec. They could drop modules worth 3 or 4 million. They could drop tags worth maybe up to 16 million. You may come across a dark blood ship, which is the equivalent of a Shadow Serpentis, and they can drop just crazy stuff, 400 mil plus from a frigate. Rare, but it can happen. Why, you may ask, are we looking at a sigil and a balance sheet? Well, that's because so far my main source of income has been Baron Command Centres. From Amarr, you go 2 jumps where you can buy them for 81,000 ISK each. I'm then bringing them to Amarr, and having spotted the prices on the market, I'm selling them for 405,000. 5 times their value. The next lowest sell order is 425. All of the other types of command center have got large amounts for sale at around 110 to 120. But Baron Command Centers did not, so I've been fulfilling that need. I can only carry 7 to 8 at a time, so I did a few little trips whilst I was nipping back to the shops, and in the course of a couple of days made a good about 10, 11, 12 million just doing that. The bubble burst when somebody came and put a lot on the market at 125,000. I did already have about 15, 16 in Amarr, so I put those on sale for 120,000 each, and they all sold. So look out on the market for just stuff that just looks odd and see if you can exploit it. You might have to do it quick whilst you can, as I did here. But yeah, it was a nice 10 million-ish bonus for my little startup fund, and hopefully my friend over at StrangeNet is proud of us. Anyway, let's get back to the action on the belt. So the Punisher's doing its job. It's cool, but we're going to get the Coercer out. Again, this is my first time out in this ship, in this fit. It is a fit I used in another video, and if you want to skip ahead to what we're going to be doing later with the Coercer, you can have a look at that now. I'm going to link that vid right here. I am not running the ancillary armor repairer at this stage, just the regular version, and I'm just seeing how this performs. And we are on a battleship, and we are fighting his tank. Now, the issue here is going to be, have I got enough capacitor to keep the guns running till this guy is down? I'm running the multi-frequency at the moment, just regular multi-frequency, nothing flash, and that is what I'm trying to figure out at the moment, because the capacitor obviously is what is powering our laser weapons. More than any other weapon system, the capacitor is getting drained, and there you go, we're out of capacitor. So what I'm going to try, I'm going to switch to standard ammo. Now that's lower DPS ammo. In fact, it's going to drop us from 180 DPS with the multi-frequency to 120. But the standard ammo uses 45% less capacitor than the multi-frequency ammo. So I'm just seeing with the lower DPS, I'm still switching between the two to figure this out, because yeah, this is my little experiment for this run out. But can the standard ammo with its lower DPS, because of its lower cap use, simply keep running enough to finally break the tank of this battleship? And you can see how close we are. And to be honest, because of this switching around and the moments when I've had to drop DPS completely because I've run out of capacitor, this takes almost as long as the Punisher did. I think about 6.5 minutes. And I've got local to myself, which is always of note. I behave completely differently, as should you, if there's nobody else in local to when there's anyone else in local, especially if you don't know them. So this kind of running myself out of capacitor, floating around a rat on an asteroid belt, isn't something I'd be doing if there was you know, any chance of somebody coming and joining me on grid. I wouldn't want to get caught in this situation at all. But we have succeeded and the rat is down. So there you go. There's my first lesson learned and a little tip for you guys. Switch to your standard ammo. It looks a bit of a scary drop in DPS, but it worked there. But really what we need to do is to be able to run our guns for longer by using less cap or having more cap. I could try and give myself more cap with a rig. That would be an option, but I'd be compromising. And the fits I'm using here in low sec, guys, they are fits specifically for what I'm doing, as I'll explain in more detail as we go along. This is not a general PvE fit at all. This is a belt fit to kill big rats quickly. That's what we're aiming for anyway. I'll probably upgrade to navy ammo just to up the DPS a bit once I've got the money to do that. And we'll be looking at ways in the next video of getting the guns to run longer and what is the most efficient way of doing that. But I think just by having a look around these first 2 or 3 systems, giving the ships a shakedown and a couple of runs in a truck, we've made ourselves about 25 to 30 million ISK. A long way off a billion ISK indeed, but this doesn't need to be rushed. I've had a couple of people comment about, oh, I don't envy you the grind of trying to make $1 billion in a month with an alpha. I don't expect this to be any kind of a grind. We might need a little bit of lady luck on our side, but we'll do it, and it won't be, I hope. We'll see. I might spend my entire Christmas break grinding belts and wormholes. Anyway, guys, I think that'll do for now. We'll be back very soon with this alpha, within a couple of days, I promise. I've also got today's patch notes with the mining ship changes into the game to have a look through, get my head round, and there'll be a video about that very soon, but I am going to take my time to get it right, etc, etc. So leave us a like if you've liked it. Remember your in-game name and your choice of skin with your comment to be entered into the skin draw. Good luck with that. Subscribe if you want to stay in touch and click the notification bell to know when the next video is up. But for now, fly brave and goodbye.